Coming up on the April 23rd edition of Carolina Week.
Carolina's student voice gets a little louder and a lot more powerful.
The Confederate statue of Silent Sam has been standing tall for nearly a century on the UNC Chapel Hill campus. Now it's causing controversy.
And the spark is finally back on Franklin Street thanks to the arrival of one man.
All that and more.
Carolina Week starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening, I'm Jenny McClendon.
And I'm Alex Lawson. Thanks for joining us for this year's final edition of Carolina Week.
Our top story tonight, the North Carolina House has approved a bill that would allow the Association of Student Governments President Jonathan Ducote to vote on the UNC System Board of Governors. The ASG president has had a seat on the BOG since 1991, but hasn't had a vote. The House approved the bill to give the ASG president a voice by a 96-17 vote. The bill now goes to the Senate.
One Carolina professor isn't being silent about his disgust with the famous Silent Sam statue. The landmark sits on the Upper Quad and is a tribute to all Carolina alumni who fought in the Civil War. UNC Chapel Hill professor Gerald Horn is calling the monument a monstrosity, saying it commemorates the Civil War and glorifies slavery. He wants the university to take it down. University officials say the statue is a part of Carolina's history and they have no plans to remove it. We want to know what students on campus think about the idea of taking Silent Sam down. Here's a sampling of what some of you are saying.
If it's really just there in memory of people who died, I don't see why it's that big a deal, although I know why the Confederate flag could be a little offensive.
I really don't think that it's going to make that big of a difference because there are a lot of other things, like such as the building with named after the man who's involved with the KKK, that are sort of civil rights issues. So I don't think that they should even worry about the Silent Sam statue because the university's not going to take down all the things that are on this campus that has to deal with stuff like that.
I think the whole idea of Silent Sam to begin with was honestly a little ridiculous, but he's up there now, he's part of the campus, and I don't think he's offensive to anybody. So even being a Northerner, I don't take offense to it. He hasn't kept me out, so I'd say leave it up.
It's not to support the South or whatever. It's just to commemorate soldiers, and they fought for what they believed in, and I think that should be commemorated and honored.
Professor Horn expressed his concerns in a letter to the editor of the Daily Tar Heel, calling for Silent Sam to be toppled just like the statue of Saddam Hussein.
The Interfraternity Council welcomed two new fraternities Tuesday. Alpha Epsilon Pi and Delta Sigma Pi joined the 19 other IFC members. The fraternities received the necessary 2/3 votes for full acceptance. Alpha Epsilon Pi will move into the Sigma Nu House on Fraternity Court. The fraternity's current mailing address is the North Carolina Hillel. Delta Sigma Pi is located near Finley Golf Course. Alpha Epsilon Pi is now the second historically Jewish fraternity on UNC's campus.
Graduating seniors thinking about storming the field of Kenan Stadium after graduation could be held back from the long-standing tradition. The commencement committee is considering not allowing students on the field, citing congestion caused by the Rams Head parking deck construction behind the east end zone. Other officials say the mobility of disabled people is another concern. Bernadette Gray Little, chairwoman of the committee, says a decision will be made by May 5th. Senior class president Payman Ruhanaford says keeping seniors off the field is a better option than allowing them on the grass.
UNC Chapel Hill and Elizabeth City State University are partnering up. The two universities are creating a joint pharmacy program pending a final vote from the UNC Board of Governors. The program was created in an effort to address a shortage of pharmacists in North Carolina and increase opportunities for students interested in pharmacy. The program will begin a pilot phase in fall 2003 and will be fully operational by fall 2004. Elizabeth City State University students will join the 120-student Carolina Pharmacy class.
A new software program developed by researchers at UNC Chapel Hill looks like a video game, but it's actually a training aid. The program captures an athlete's every move and turns it into a 3D animations that allow athletes and trainers to use science instead of trial and error to come up with ways to improve performance. The program will soon be at the National Track and Field Hall of Fame in New York City.
Roy Williams is doing a little more than just coaching basketball. The Chapel Hill Carrboro Chamber of Commerce says business in the downtown area has improved since Williams accepted the job as Carolina's head coach. He's being credited with bolstering the spirit of local merchants and those interested in Carolina paraphernalia. Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce, Aaron Nelson, says Williams' arrival is the first bright spot many merchants have seen this semester.
Someone downtown described it. He says this is as good as Christmas or the second coming. I mean, it's a big deal for them because folks have been feeling bad. It's been tough.
The Chamber of Commerce expects business to continue to improve, especially closer to basketball season. Well, some combinations aren't good, like chocolate ice cream and broccoli. Ugh.
But gas and electric? That sounds pretty good.
This hybrid might just be the ticket.
Properly inflating my tires burns less fuel and saves me money on gas. Yeah, I'm saving Mother Nature from pollution, but more importantly, she saved me $11. Ow!
Environmental defense. Get green.
By keeping my car regularly tuned, I save money on gas and repairs. That also means cleaner air. You know, feels good to help save the cash, planet.
Environmental defense. Get green. For more tips, go to getgreen.com.
To change the world, you don't have to be rich or famous or play ball or lead countries. All you have to do is tell your family you want to be an organ donor. Talk to your family about organ donation. Talk to your family about donating life.
Gas prices getting you down? You might want to consider a hybrid car. Carolina Week reporter Deepika Narasimhan tells us why.
Hybrid cars are a great way to save money on gasoline. Just ask Honda Civic Hybrid owner Marcia Fisher.
I was spending a lot of time driving long distance trips, and my other car was getting kind of old, and that was one part of it, and also the gas mileage. It's a lot better in the hybrids.
In fact, hybrid cars can get almost 50 miles to the gallon. That's 15 more than the most fuel-efficient conventional car. During the war, Toyota and Honda sold thousands of hybrids, partly because of rising gas sales. But as prices go down at the pump, experts don't expect hybrid sales to go down too. Professor of Economics Stanley Black says hybrid cars are popular because they're environmentally friendly.
Personally, I think that most people's demand for hybrid cars is not based on saving money, but based on their desire to protect the environment. And so I don't really think it's affected that much by the price of gas.
The sales manager of Toyota of Durham, Ian Edgington, agrees. He says there's more than one reason to buy a hybrid car.
It's not only the gas mileage, it's a major benefit of the hybrid vehicle. It's also the extremely low emissions. Hybrid vehicles are 75% cleaner than a comparable sedan.
In fact, environmental concerns are a major reason hybrids are becoming more popular. Right now, only Toyota and Honda are selling compact hybrid cars, but their success has companies like GM and Ford producing their own hybrid models and even extending the technology to SUVs. And Fisher says she knows there's a market for them.
I know a lot of people who want hybrids. I've had a couple friends say that they would definitely love to get like a hybrid truck or SUV.
With Ford's hybrid SUV model coming out by the summer of 2004, they won't have to wait long. In Chapel Hill, I'm Deepika Narasimhan, Carolina Week.
In addition to the Ford Escape hybrid, Toyota plans to release a Lexus SUV hybrid in 2 years.
Chapel Hill fire officials are looking into a chemical spill that shut down Hillsborough Street for several hours Tuesday morning and sent 2 garbage collectors to the hospital. Deputy Fire Chief Robert Bosworth said the spilled substance was muriatic acid, a household cleaner that requires special disposal. The manufacturer's label didn't give disposal instructions, but Bosworth says someone could still be held liable for improper disposal.
One group in North Carolina is helping to save the environment and train artists in the mountains of North Carolina. Carolina Week's Rich Fowler has that story.
For more than 20 years, it was a place to dump garbage. Now, after being closed for 9 years, the landfill on the border of Mitchell and Yancey counties has become a valuable resource. The Energy Exchange collects methane gas from deep inside the landfill and uses it to power a glass studio, a clay studio, and a plant nursery. The methane is used to heat kilns, furnaces, and greenhouses. Project manager Terry Woodruff says that the Environmental Protection Agency was eager to help the pilot program.
They were excited that we could be a potential model for over 1,000 landfills across the country that could utilize this small-scale energy source.
Because methane is a greenhouse gas, collecting and burning it instead of letting it escape into the atmosphere reduces its impact on the environment. The free energy helps budding artists develop their work while they take business courses to help plan their own studios. John Getze has been in residence as a glassblower at the Energy Exchange for the past 2 years.
I was figuring that I was pretty ready to start up my own shop. The finances were quite a concern, and this seemed like the perfect stepping stone. Being able to walk into a nearly equipped shop and then not having a lot of the bills that a normal shop has.
Getze and Brent Cole, the resident glassblowers, each pay only $350 a month for rent and all the energy they need to make their glass art. The 4 pottery residents each pay only $200 a month. The Energy Exchange is developing another landfill in Avery County, and when it is completed, the 2 sites together will have the same environmental impact as removing 21,000 cars from North Carolina roads. In Chapel Hill, I'm Rich Fowler, Carolina Week.
The Energy Exchange is located near Burnsville and has an art gallery, greenhouse, and visitor center open to the public 5 days a week.
Katie Mahoney is here now with the weather report, and I know hurricane season doesn't start till June 1st, but there's actually one out there right now. It's kind of bizarre.
It is. Tropical Storm Anna is still just churning out in the Atlantic. Not a big threat to anyone so far, but it is really interesting from a statistical standpoint, at least. It's the earliest a tropical storm has ever formed. So when we will talk a little bit more about hurricane season in just a second, but first I want to go to this week's weather question, which is which region of North Carolina receives more rainfall because of its soil type? Is it the mountains, the coast, the sandhills, or the foothills? We'll have the answer to the weather question and this weekend's forecast when Carolina Week continues.
I hang out with a pretty trashy circle. The circle that helps this circle by recycling trash. We sort glass, plastic, separate cans, stack newspapers and magazines. Now, thanks to us, there are lots of products made from things we've already recycled. This cereal box wants your Sunday paper. These paper clips, in a more daring life, a 56 convertible. The circle works like this. It starts when we recycle trash at home and at work. It's completed when we buy products made from or packaged in recycled materials. How do you know the difference? Check the label for something called post-consumer recycled content. It looks like this. Make a mental note. Then buy the highest percentage of it you can find. You'll save a tree, you'll save energy, and in your own way, you'll help save the world. Complete the circle.
Call 1-800-2-RECYCLE for your free shopping guide. Environmental Defense, finding the ways that work.
Hi, and welcome back to Carolina Week. Well, you couldn't ask for better weather for the last week of classes. If we take a look outside, you can see students around campus just getting out there and enjoying it. In fact, there's really no better place to grab lunch or read a book or catch up on studying than outside. It's a pretty dry forecast as well. In fact, the only water for today and tomorrow is the water in the fountains around campus. However, the weekend could be looking a little bit wetter. We'll get to that in just a second. But first, like I said, I want to talk about the 2003 hurricane forecast. There are a lot of groups out there trying to make these seasonal forecasts, but here's the most well-known one from Dr. William Gray out in Colorado. This year, Dr. Gray is calling for 12 named storms. We already have one, like I said, Tropical Storm Anna out in the Atlantic. This is a slightly above normal season as he predicts 8 of these storms to become hurricanes, and out of those 8, 3 should become intense according to his forecast, which means Category 3 or above. Well, no tropical systems are threatening our coastline for now, but if we take a quick look at the satellite map, you can see a weather maker is on the way. A lot of Gulf moisture is really starting to be dragged up out of the Gulf of Mexico. This is all out ahead of a system that is located currently over Texas and Oklahoma. The low pressure center is going to be starting to move off to the east. That'll start to change our weather pattern quite a bit over the next few days. If we take a look at how that looks on the surface map, you can see it's starting to get organized over West Texas, and it really will start to pick up some energy as it heads into the North Carolina region Thursday night and Friday, and really will start to impact our weather Friday night into Saturday. Now, this system is also kind of going to get a little bit hung up on the coast. We might see it sticking around longer than we might like, but if we take a look at the Carolina Week 4-day forecast, it's really not all bad. Friday, clouds start to fill in and it starts to get a little bit cooler. High temperatures only about 61 degrees. However, on Saturday, we start to get more of the showery weather kind of on and off throughout Saturday and into Saturday night. A high on Saturday of 66 degrees with a pretty good chance of rain. On Sunday, it'll be slow to clear out, but eventually it will. Highs will hopefully get up to about 72 degrees if we can get enough sunshine. Lows around 50 degrees both days. And as we head into Monday and Tuesday of next week, it'll start to be a clearing, warming trend, so that's always a good thing to look forward to. If you're heading down to the beach, looks kind of iffy on Saturday. Mostly cloudy skies, a scattered shower, a high of 77 degrees. But Sunday looks like a pretty good bet, a high of 79 degrees with mostly sunny skies. If you're headed out to the mountains, kind of a similar pattern out there as well. Perhaps a little bit better chance of a shower on Saturday, high of 64. Clearing out once again on Sunday with a high of about 67 degrees. So very, very pleasant, seasonable spring-like weather. If you're suffering from the allergies, well, that'll kind of continue as we head into the weekend. Tree pollen is in the high range. Molds are moderate thanks to that moisture we saw last week. But weeds and grasses are both low. So those should start to increase within the next month or so. But for now, we're good with those. So does anyone want to guess about that soil type question? Which region of North Carolina receives more rain because of the soil type?
What do you think, guys? Take a stab at it, Brittany.
I'll take a guess with A. It's actually C. Sand heats up faster than anything else. So down in the sandhills, we get a difference in heating. That causes air to rise, and when air rises, it causes rain. So we actually see a little maximum of precipitation around the sandhills region. So kind of an interesting local fact.
All right. Thanks, Kelly.
Sure.
Brittany McGraw is here now with a look at the year in Carolina athletics.
Yes, it's definitely been an interesting year in sports. Lots of ups and downs. And even though it's the final week of classes, there are still sports that will play well past the end of classes, baseball and softball. So if you're looking for something to do other than study, definitely get out there and enjoy a baseball and softball game. But also coming up in sports, 2 Carolina gymnasts are on their way to NCAA Nationals starting Thursday. Junior Anna Wilson and freshman Courtney Bumpers are the first Carolina gymnasts to go to Nationals since 1986. Much more coming up in sports when we return.
Recycling a glass bottle saves enough energy to run the TV you're watching for 1 full hour. Recycle. It's the everyday way to save the world. Recycling all our Sunday papers would save over 500,000 trees a week. Recycle. It's the everyday way to save the world. Making a can from recycled aluminum instead of from raw materials reduces air pollution by 95%. Recycle. It's the everyday way to save the world.
When you buy disposable and overpackaged products for your home, you're really saying, I'm fine with depleting natural resources. Pollute our air and water. Energy? Wasted. People tell you, hey, go for less packaging. Check out reusables. Buy stuff in bulk. Well, you tell them, no thanks. I'd rather throw it all away. Buy smart. Waste less. Save more.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. Riding a 9-game winning streak heading into Tuesday's matchup against Elon, Carolina's baseball team wanted to keep the good times rolling, but that would prove to be a tough task against the Phoenix. With Elon already up a run, you can say adios to that one. Wes Miller homers to right for a 2-0 lead. The Heels finally get on the board in the 4th. Chris Iannetta scores thanks to a double by Ryan Blake. Next at bat, Blair Waggett doubles to center to push Blake across the plate. It's a close contest, but Carolina falls to Elon in 12 innings by a 5-4 score. Next up for the Heels, a home matchup against East Carolina Wednesday evening. It's been a difficult year for Carolina sports, but several teams and players have excelled. The volleyball team's first Sweet 16 appearance and national titles by Shalane Flanagan, Laura Garrity, and Jessie Paraquette have been just some of the highlights. Carolina Week sports cameras have captured it all.
The next head coach of the Tar Heels, Coach Roy Williams.
Interesting sports year, and I think next year there will be a lot of outstanding things to look forward to, so it should be exciting.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Brittany.
Well, it's been a year to remember in news as well.
We'll look back at the big events, the tragedies, and the excitement that filled this year at Carolina.
To a child, a little of your time can make a lifetime of difference. That's why the Greenville Family Partnership sponsored a hike, because kids with something to do are less likely to do drugs.
Standing right in front of them.
Whether you're a good storyteller or a good listener, you can help. To find out about community drug prevention programs, call toll-free 1-877-KIDS-313.
I can keep a kid off drugs.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
Here's a look at the Carolina Week calendar. It's the last week of classes. Exams begin Monday, April 28th and end on Friday, May 9th. Here are some events going on in Chapel Hill if you want a study break. Thursday night is the last throwdown for seniors at He's Not Here from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. Friday afternoon, April 25th, 3 Greek groups come together to sponsor Block Party. That's at 211 Henderson Street behind Bub O'Malley's beginning at 3 p.m. Also on Friday, Slugfest at the Sig Ep House starting at 3:30 to midnight. Sunday, Franklin Street is closing down for the annual street festival Apple Chill from 1 to 6 p.m. And on Wednesday, April 30th, the first reading day, the General Alumni Association is having its exam study break in Union 1505 from 1 to 6 p.m. It's been an interesting year at UNC Chapel Hill and around the world.
Carolina Week takes a look back at some of the big events we've experienced.
Good evening, I'm Jenny McClendon.
And I'm Alex Lawson. Thanks for joining us.
This year, the media frenzy was about Carolina and a book.
The book, Approaching the Quran, brought out many critics because of its religious nature.
Honestly, I think it's a lot more conservative than people think.
I think that's why we've gotten our liberal reputation.
Remembering and celebrating is what those gathered on Polk Place did.
On September 11th, we discovered the strength of our community.
Say nice things about me. Carry on without me.
No relief in sight for the drought.
The lake level is very, very low.
Our top story tonight, winter weather hits Carolina.
Today, students were greeted with rain, sleet, and snow as they walked around campus.
Well, the results are in.
With 56.6% of the vote, Matt Tepper is your new student body president.
The signs, the arguments, the loud voices, all passionate protest against a possible war in Iraq.
You can't let a radical have nuclear weapons.
Let there be no war in Iraq!
As the nation prepares for a possible war, friends and families are saying goodbye to their loved ones.
American action in Iraq has been named Operation Iraqi Freedom.
The game is over, meaning the war is over.
It's even too hard to make a good snowball. But the one thing that it did do was get classes canceled on Monday.
So lawmakers also decided to allow toll roads right here in North Carolina. Tepper went from being on top of the world to being Joe's student again on Wednesday.
Last week, Carolina Week reporter Jade Biggio and I went jade walking across campus to see if students could recognize the candidates.
She's good. I can't sing with her.
She and the other seniors were honored in a pregame ceremony that made even the stoic Brown a little emotional.
So the Carolina men wouldn't have been playing on ice-covered courts like these.
If you think someone close to you might have this problem, talk to them about what you've noticed.
Stickball is more than just a game, it's history, and Native Americans have played it since the 17th century.
Saw blue like that before. Across the sky, around the world.
That does it for our final edition of Carolina Week for this academic year.
But before we say goodbye to you, we'd like to say goodbye and congratulate some of our own. Senior reporter and anchor Michael Handy won the John Bittner Award as the Outstanding Senior in Electronic Communication. Senior Sports Director Drew Matthews won the John Green Award for his overall excellence.
Good luck and goodbye to Senior Director Sam Matthews and producer Katie Pike and Ann Chafee, Sports Director Drew Matthews, anchors Alex Lawson, Brad Broders, Michael Handy, Aaron Mesmer, and Brittany McGraw, and weather anchors Kelly Mahoney and Jason Myers.
Also graduating are reporters Jay Biggio and Deepika Narasimhan, sports reporters Casey Hart, David Shoemaker, and crew members Jarvis Broom and Jason Keever. We'll miss all of you.
We sure will, but we'll be back next semester with a new cast and crew. Until then, good night.
Good night.